When we decide to home a dog, I'm sure none of us do it with the expectation that this won't be for life. But sometimes circumstances change and we're not able to carry on. So, what can we do then? Having volunteered for a homing charity for a number of years and being the person that has had to accept dogs back in when their owners can no longer cope, I've seen firsthand that the decision to return a dog is never made lightly. And it often results from really quite upsetting circumstances, changes in the owner's life. Perhaps a relationship has broken down, maybe they were in rented accommodation or owned accommodation for that matter, and they have to move to somewhere that isn't suitable, or perhaps there's a family illness. Whatever it is, it's usually something quite distressing, quite upsetting. So first of all, it's important to get some support. Maybe you can talk to your original rescue or friends who have dogs, people who will understand just how stressful this is. You're not just handing over a dog, you're actually letting a member of your family go. If you're considering returning your dog because of things the dog is doing, it may be that a behaviourist would be able to help you. Much depends on how urgent it is that changes are made and whether the situation can be managed safely in the meantime. And sometimes that's just not possible, and it's in the best interest of everybody, both the family and the dog is returned to find a new home instead. Of course, once that decision has been reached, you're going to need to find an organisation that will take the dog off your hands. You may have seen in the news recently that animal rescues are overwhelmed right now, and more pets need help finding new homes than they can really cope with. I spoke to Lisa Samson from the Barley Greyhound Sanctuary in Essex to get a better understanding of what exactly is going on. So, hi Lisa, thanks for joining me today. I was hoping you could tell us a little bit more about Barley Greyhound Sanctuary.
Yeah, hello, thank you for having me. Barley Greyhound Sanctuary was actually formed back in 2003, but back then we were known as the Walthamstow Owners Association, and we used to home retiring greyhounds from Walthamstow Stadium. And of course, that closed in 2007. So we then became Barley Kennels and a branch of the Greyhound Trust. And we did that until 2020. But sadly, in 2020, for various reasons, we decided to break away from the Greyhound Trust, and we became an independent charity, and we are now known as Barley Greyhound Sanctuary.
Oh, brilliant. Now, we're here really to talk about dogs who are homed, greyhounds who are homed and then returned. Can you tell us what your policy is at Barley on dogs being returned to the sanctuary?
Our policy is very clear. From the moment they go home, actually, the moment people visit, we always tell them that if for any reason, after 2 weeks, 2 months, 10 years, the dogs can always be returned to us and must be returned to us.
Brilliant.
So, because we love the dogs, we get to know them, and we like to know that they're going to have that backup when they find a new home. So yeah, it's verbally told to adopters when they visit on their home check, and it's also written on the adoption agreement as well, in big bold letters.
So they sign to say that the dog will come back to you when they adopt the dog. Yeah.
They do, yes.
So it really guarantees that that dog has somewhere to go if the people are under pressure and for some reason or other can't keep them.
Yeah, and I think it's really important that people do know they've got that support.
Yes.
Because you just don't know. You don't know what the future may hold, and you might need to reach out one day and ask for help, and you need to know you can do that.
Yeah. And have you noticed any changes in the numbers of people that are coming to you with a greyhound that they can no longer care for?
I don't know if the numbers have changed or if it's just more noticeable because there's so much going on social media and you see it a lot more.
True,
But I've definitely seen an increase on sort of retired greyhound pages and social media of people seeking help and asking for help. Whether that's because they originally adopted not through a homing centre and they had no backup in the first place, or because their adoption group won't help them. But yeah, there's definitely been an increase in that online.
Yeah.
So these are dogs who aren't from Barley in the first place. These are dogs from other kennels you're being
Yeah,
asked to take now.
yeah.
Yeah.
So there's been a few lately, but yeah, not originally from us, but just people really,
Mm,
like as a last resort, really seeking help and asking
mm,
for help.
mm. So could you share with us some of the typical reasons people tend to give for returning dogs when they come back to you?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of genuine reasons why dogs need to return. There can be illness in the family, or their owner sadly passed away, moving away for work,
Hmm.
um, marriage breakups. There are so many genuine reasons, and it's important to know that when you take on that dog, that you've got support there. Nobody takes on a dog thinking, "Oh, we're going to have to return it," um, but it is important to know you have got that support there. I think as well, it's important to be 100% honest with your adoption group when you
Hmm.
are looking to adopt,
Yes.
and also honest with yourself about the work and commitment it's going to take. Because usually they are genuine reasons they come back to us, but
Mm.
sometimes it could be worked through, or if they'd been honest, they could have been matched maybe to a bit better dog in the first place to avoid these issues.
Yes.
So yeah, it takes honesty from the start.
Yes.
But yeah, usually there are genuine reasons, but it is
Mm.
important. It is important that you're matched to the right dog. So
Yes, to try
yeah,
and minimise the chances
yeah,
of the need to bring them back.
yeah,
Yes.
definitely.
So if someone has homed a dog from an organisation that is not able to take that dog back from them for whatever reason, what advice would you give to someone who needs to rehome their greyhound and can't take it back to the original charity?
It's really hard, isn't it? Because I think, firstly, your adoption group should be your first port of call.
Hmm.
But then if you don't have that support, you feel a bit lost and you don't know where to turn next. Um, So obviously, I think it's always best to try and go through a reputable rehoming centre,
Yes.
because that's what's best for the dog, and you know they're going to receive that backup and care, and hopefully be placed in a home that's suitable for them with home checks
Mm.
and all the
Yes.
ongoing support the next owner needs. So it's where to look really. The GBGB do have a list of approved rehoming centres
Okay.
on their website, and I do quite often, if I see anything on Facebook or online where people are seeking help when their
Hmm.
original adoption group won't help, I usually send them that list of adoption groups and say just contact them all and
Yes.
just let them know, because one of them will help you. Like,
Yeah.
one of them will. Um, it's just a case of keep trying.
Mm.
But yeah, don't. It's it's hard because you don't want to feel on your own. But if your adoption group's not helping you, it's really difficult. But yeah, always
Yeah.
try and seek help from adoption group. But
Yeah.
if you do get to the point where you think this isn't working and you need to home them yourself, then at least make sure you're doing it properly with home checks and
Hmm.
making sure that that dog is going to a suitable home.
Yeah. So would you recommend that they look for a sight hound group if possible? I
Yeah,
kind of think
definitely.
of sight hound groups as having a better idea of homing sight hounds, more knowledge of the
Yeah,
breeds.
yeah, I think it's important really, especially for greyhounds, because a lot of them aren't used to being in that all-breed
Mm.
environment, and they are a unique breed. They do need a lot of
Yes.
understanding, and yeah, I think a sighthound or greyhound specific groups definitely best to reach out to.
That's brilliant. Thank you, really. That's been wonderful, Lisa. Thank you so much for talking to me today. And I hope people have found that helpful. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks.
So there we have firsthand from Lisa an insight into the situation at the moment. Any reputable homing centre is going to do a home check on potential owners before they adopt. And part of that discussion is likely to address how you will manage if you're no longer able to keep the dog for yourself. Is there someone else in the family that could look after them, for example? And I think this is a really good prompt to encourage you to think carefully about the longer term issues that could arise. But then again, we can't plan for every eventuality because circumstances change, and sometimes it's in the dog's interest to go back. Perhaps they're just not coping well in your home and they're not best placed. As a single person living alone, it's something I personally have to think about quite carefully. All of my greyhounds from now have come from the same charity, but I know that in the future I will be asking some very pointed and precise questions before I home another dog, because I have limited options for who could care for them if I can't. And I need to know that any charity I home from will be able to take that dog back if I'm forced into the position of relinquishing them. I hope you found that helpful. We'll be back again soon with more videos for you. Bye bye for now. Look out for new videos every Monday, and why not subscribe so you don't miss out?